Okay, welcome again. In keeping with Stanley's adventurous spirit, we are attempting to use technology to join together from all over the world for this memorial service celebrating Stanley's life. If we encounter any technical difficulties or challenges, we will try to fix them just like Stanley used to on his trips. Some of you experienced those fixes. Our focus during this time together will be our memories of Stanley. We are asking everyone to follow the guidelines that Steve provided in the invitation. To begin, I'd like to offer a prayer. Loving God, we gather in your presence today to remember and give thanks for the long life of Bo Stanley Bittinger. Though we feel the sadness of his absence, we are grateful for the many years you blessed him with and for the memories that continue to live in our hearts. We come before you today with hearts that are both thankful and tender. We thank you for the love he shared, the wisdom he offered, the family he cherished, and the many lives he touched over his 97 years and 11 months that he spent among us. As we come together in remembrance, we ask for your presence among us. Bring comfort to those who mourn, peace to those whose hearts are heavy, and strength to those who feel the weight of this loss. Help us to find joy in the memories we share and gratitude for the years we were blessed to know and love Stanley. Today, as we honor his life, may we be reminded that love does not end with death. The lessons he taught, the kindness he showed, and the legacy he is leaving behind will continue to live on in all who knew him. Bless this gathering, our reflections, our stories, and our memories. May this time together be filled with comfort, hope, and thanksgiving for a life well lived. Trusting in your love and mercy, in Christ's name we pray, amen. Thank you all. Before our first speaker, I will give everyone a brief overview of the service. For the next hour and a half, I'll be serving as your master of ceremonies. My name is Mitchell Birchfield, and I've helped Stanley with managing his affairs for the last several years. At first, we're going to hear from some family members, and they will share their memories and reflections and special times with Stanley. Then we'll transition to hearing comments from everyone else. We'll have a special musical presentation to start off with for that transition. It's a slideshow and a song written by Greg Long, and the slides organized by Steve. Next, I'll call upon everybody, anyone that wants to raise their hand using the instructions that were provided, and you'll be called on and given a chance to share some memories if you so desire. The service will close with some final comments and a prayer from Steve. It'll be back-to-back opening in just one moment with the first speaker, his son Craig, and ending with Steve at the end with the last prayer. So now I invite you to listen to our first speaker, Craig Bittinger, and I'll remind him he has to unmute in order to get started. Craig?
Okay. Hello, I'm Craig Bittinger, Stanley's youngest son. I would like to share some thoughts about Stanley's life and some of my favorite memories of him. Stanley was a deeply religious person. He was a minister and a person who walked in his faith. He believed in leading by example. If a person needed help, he would do his best to give it to them. He worked in his life to teach others the correct and moral way to live through his personal example. He was always giving of his time and money. He tried to follow the example of the Good Samaritan and help others in need. On one caving trip in Texas, we were miles from the nearest town when he saw several men carrying backpacks passing by. Rather than ignore them, He spoke with them and then gave them food, water, and a ride to the nearest town. Stanley loved to drive VW buses in his early years. He would go on trips when he could. When he was too busy, he would loan his VW bus to others. When the group La Raza Unida needed to go from Kingsville to Crystal City, Stanley would let them take the VW so that they could attend the organizing meetings. Stanley was the sponsor of the Texas A&I Speleological Society, or caving club as we called it. He would go on caving trips when he could and lend his VW to the cavers so they could go when he was busy with work or church. There were many trips where 7 or 8 people and all of their gear would pile into that VW and head out to Mexico for a weekend of caving. The VW got a lot of hard wear and tear, but Stanley didn't seem to mind. He loved to go to Bustamante Cave and camp out in Bustamante Canyon. When I was in my early 20s and a UT student at Austin, we planned a caving trip to Precipicio. We finally rolled into Bustamante Canyon to camp for the night about midnight. Stanley was awake and came to greet me. We exchanged hugs and the joy of seeing each other in an unexpected way. It was a cold night. I had packed in a hurry, and when I looked at my gear, I had forgotten my sleeping bag. No one in my group had any extra gear, so I walked over to Stanley and explained the situation to him. He was happy to help. He rummaged around under the seats of the VW and pulled out a sleeping bag. I had a warm night's sleep, thanks to Stanley and his love wrapped all around me. The next morning, we all got up and began the long climb up the mountain to Precipicio. When we got to a steep climb up a 10-foot cliff, Stanley was already there and had a rope rigged and was helping everyone to haul up their packs before continuing up the mountain. Once again, he was helping those around him and leading a life of service. Precipicio had several deep pits that we rappelled down. The longest drop was first and about 150 feet deep. At the bottom of the cave was a room full of beautiful cave formations. On the way out, I climbed up first and was sitting at the top of the 150-foot drop. It was finally Stanley's turn to climb out. The rope went tight and he began to climb. I couldn't see him below in the dark, but I could hear him as he got near the top. Suddenly he stopped and I thought I could hear him call out. I called down to him, "Are you okay?" He called back up, "My Jumar ascender just broke." That meant that Stanley was just hooked onto the rope with his 2 feet. He could only hang on with his hands, but he couldn't sit down. So I called down to him, "Just climb up slow and steady." So he kept going up and up and up. Finally, he got close, but then the rope went over a slope and his weight was holding it tight against the rocks. So he couldn't get his hands behind the rope. So he was pinching on the rope as he kept coming up. So I crawled forward and looked over the edge of the drop, and I could see him down there just out of my reach. So I called down to him, "Just climb up a little bit further." I stretched out as far as I could, head down over the drop, reached down and grabbed the back of his shoulder harness. And I asked God, "Give me strength." I pulled up as hard as I could, and suddenly I felt a hand on the back of my pants pulling me. And both Stanley and I and the whole rope came up out of that drop and landed back in the passageway. And we both lay there for a while. We were kind of stunned and breathing hard. And then Stanley started thanking everybody. There were a lot of cavers there that had helped pull him out. And then he turned to me and said, "Thank you for saving my life." And I turned to Stanley and I said, "Thank you for my life." And somehow that kind of balanced things out in that moment. I was very lucky to have Stanley as my father. I had unconditional love and the feeling that no matter what happened, I could count on him and that I had him on my side. He encouraged me to grow and be my own person. He showed me how to be a loving and caring man. I have tried to follow his example in my life. When I think back over Stanley's 97 years, he had a life that was well lived. He devoted his life to service to others. He loved to teach and show others new things. He was a role model for us all. He lived his faith through his actions and deeds. He showed us how a life should be lived. We are all lucky to have known him and to have shared in his adventures in this life. He had the capacity to love and share it with those around him. We will all miss him as he goes on to his well-deserved reward. Goodbye, Stanley. Vaya con Dios. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
You're welcome.
And now we'll hear from Steve Bittinger, who has some prepared remarks.
When we think of my dad, it's almost impossible not to picture him on a trip, planning the next trip, or reliving the last trip. He was happiest when wheels were rolling under him. Stanley's life wasn't a quiet story told in one place. It was a grand epic that spanned continents, decades, and generations. Joseph Campbell famously wrote about the hero's journey, the idea that a true hero leaves the comfort of the known world to venture into the unknown, facing trials and returning with gifts to share. Stanley lived that myth from the very beginning. At just 2 years old, his journey began in 1930s Nigeria, sometimes riding on the shoulder of a local guide, floating across flooding rivers in a washtub, or jolting along dusty roads in a motorcycle sidecar. He was practically born into travel and adventure, and that restless, curious spirit became the compass for the rest of his life. As he grew, Stanley's world expanded. If Nigeria was the prologue, his decades-leading trips through Mexico, Central and South America became his great epic. This is where he starts to resemble a character out of Tolkien. Much like Bilbo Baggins or Frodo, Stanley had this uncanny ability to gather a company around him, a diverse group of people who bound their fates to his for a time, trusting him to lead them off the beaten path. And because it was off the beaten path, there were always trials. But whether it was a middle of nowhere vehicle breakdown, a string of flat tires, or navigating tense negotiations with local officials, Dad was entirely in his element. He spoke fluent Spanish and had a deep understanding of Latin American culture. But more importantly, he spoke the language of resilience, patience, and selfless service. It's a very Tolkien idea that true companionship is forged when people are tested by adversity, overcoming their differences and uniting for a shared purpose. That's exactly what Stanley gave to everyone who traveled with him, spending every day, all day, facing the unpredictable together. Didn't just create travel memories, it forged unbreakable, lifelong friendships. For so many of us here today, our defining memories of Stanley are wrapped up in those dusty roads, those shared hardships, and the immense joy of visiting those out-of-the-way places he loved so much. Stanley was our guide, our fixer, our hero. Stanley's final earthly journey may be over, but the fellowship he built remains with us today, forever bound by the adventures we were lucky enough to share with him. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That was very nice. Our next speaker will be any other family member that is present. I don't see anyone that's raising their hand at the moment. Is Richard here by any chance?
I saw him on the list.
What, you saw Richard? Okay.
I saw the name Richard. Richard, do you have any comments you want to share if you're here?
Richard.
Here, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, now we can hear you. Okay, let's welcome Stanley's brother, Richard.
I experienced my big brother most intimately one time when I was 15. He was, I don't know how old he was, and Desmond, his father, was well into his 50s. We took a climb up Lindbergh Peak in Colorado with a clothesline rope. Years later, I experienced, we came back from that hike in the middle of the night over a 12,000-foot pass, so they wouldn't report us lost. I learned you could climb in the dark by just trusting the force. Years later, I explored caves and climbing with the boys, Stephen and Craig, and rappelling in Colorado, and finally experienced a birthday cave where Stanley was the one setting the ropes for the younger cavers. So he was indefatigable in his energy. I always knew him as a daredevil, willing to take those risks. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, for those comments. Anybody else that would like to speak? I've got on my list Carol Long is next.
And Kim, we will go to you in just a little bit when we get through family. Thanks for raising your hand like that.
Yeah.
I could see you. We'll communicate lots of different ways on this.
Okay. My name is Carol Swihart Long. My husband and I live in my grandparents' home here in Indiana. Vivian Swihart Bittinger was my very kind aunt. Stanley was the uncle who had adventures and seemed almost that seemed almost mythical when he told us about them. My husband and I were later able to go with him on a couple of trips. The stories he told were correct. The adventures were amazing. I am so glad we went. One summer, we had a family reunion at our home. Stanley and Vivian were able to come. It was held on a Sunday. Uncle Stanley gave a family church service in our home. He spoke about a time when he was young and his family went on a vacation. They were climbing a mountain as a family. There was an older member who was struggling to climb that mountain. The member needed help. Stanley, as a younger man, just wanted to run ahead to the top of the mountain, but someone reminded him they must all reach the top together. So as a team, they helped this older member. He said they pushed and pulled to get this person to the top. It took time, but they finally reached the top together. The view was greater and more beautiful because they were all there. Stanley climbed many mountains, and he shared the beautiful top view with everyone who took the journey with him. He pushed and pulled people by his wonderful gift of encouragement. Uncle Stanley was a pastor. He was a believer in Jesus Christ. He encouraged all to accept Jesus as their Savior. And as Jesus tells us in the scripture, John 14:2, my Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? Stanley is now experiencing his beautiful heavenly home, a mountain with crystal clear waterfalls. He wants us all to meet him at the top. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Carol. Hey, next on the list,
Beautiful.
Luann Lehman.
Okay, I'm Luann Swihart Lehman, and Aunt Vivian was my dad's sister. Uncle Stanley was indeed one of a kind. He was a superman to me with his lessons of compassion to others. He was looking to help and protect whomever he could. He shared his knowledge and life lessons with us in the most gentle way. He was a gentleman for sure. He was never a lone ranger, as he took several adventure seekers with him on his trips to places near and far. Sounds like he never promised when they would return, but guaranteed all to have something to cherish for the rest of their lives. He was like Batman, taking us with him to the depths of the most dangerous cave. It didn't matter if one was there with him in person or just hearing him retell his many adventures in the caves. I found myself ducking down at times, avoiding the bats as he talked. However, despite their value to this world, I still don't like bats. I love looking back at pictures and seeing the three musketeers who proudly and wisely wore a camera around each of their necks, which provided us with permanent memories of his, Vivian, and Beverly's visits to Indiana. One just knew that by the end of their visit that each one would find time to talk with you one-on-one. They were actually interested in our lives. Stephen, the picture you recently gave us from 1966 with all of us together, including Jan, whose mother was probably behind the camera that day, brought back special memories of the times the whole family was together. So you see, Uncle Stanley was a hero, a superhero to me, not just because he was a Superman himself, the Lone Ranger, Batman, or one of the three musketeers. He didn't need to put on a cape to be my hero. He was a caring man, easy to love. It's been a wonderful experience over this past few years getting to know everyone that loves Stanley and who meant so much to him. We've traveled thousands of miles over these past years. We've seen beautiful Australia and many other countries, people, places, and things without leaving our houses here in Indiana. I miss his smiling face, but I thank you for this experience.
Thank you so much, Luann. Okay, the next speaker that I have on my list is Wendell Jones.
Stanley, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. This will take a second. Okay. Stanley was always my role model. From the time I was a teenager, Stanley followed Jesus' admonition to welcome the stranger into your life. And he always had room in his heart and his home for the poor, for the immigrants, for people who were fighting for their civil rights. Some of the happiest times in my life were in Stanley Bittinger's garage, running off the newsletter for La Raza Unida. In recent years, Stanley received a Life Achievement Award from the Chicano Association at the local college. When I went off to college, I went off with leaflets for the lettuce boycott, which is how I met Donna, and who's now in Australia. And when I got to Los Angeles, I set up a legal clinic with the Coalition for Economic Survival over 30 years ago. And for over 30 years, we have helped low-income tenants, people being evicted from their homes, people who were living in slums with rats, and we've helped them take care of those problems. None of that would have happened if Stanley Bittinger had not recruited me to a life of service, but he did, because that's how Stanley rolled. So he will always be in my heart. I love you, Stan. I love all of you, and I'm sorry I keep breaking down.
You did fine, Wendell. Thank you.
And Jennifer, we do see your hand up, and we'll be coming to you in just a few moments.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, our next person on the list is David Birchfield.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm Mitchell and Jan's son, Beverly's grandson. I wrote this down so I would have something to refer to in case I started breaking down a little bit too. I've known Stanley all my life. He would visit every year with Vivian and Beverly for an early Christmas. That was always a highlight of the year. They'd show up in the motorhome with just all these presents, and everything was just wonderful when they were there. We normally always see them for at least a week during the summer, and there were normally a lot of other unscheduled visits. I remember the time he took me to Disney World when I was a kid. That was the highlight of my life at that time. And I remember we spent several summers over there living with them when my parents were finishing up their degrees. And so I remember going out and gardening with Vivian and watching Stan work on his different projects. And, you know, those are my earliest memories of him. And they showed how he kind of made life better for just everyone around him. But, you know, as we get older, we realize things are a little bit more complicated. With Stanley, I started noticing how much he did to enable and bring out the best in everyone else around him. I noticed it in Beverly and Vivian, and I noticed it in everyone else we interacted with. And the other thing I realized as the time went on is that as wonderful as he'd been to me and everyone close to me, he had been just that good to everyone else who knew him. He was just that amazing of a person. You know, there's no one that I've known as well as I know Stanley who I haven't had at least a few negative experiences with. You know, that's normal even for amazing people, but Stanley wasn't normal. I don't have a single bad memory of it. I can't remember a single time he got angry or raised his voice or put himself before others. It's only happy memories. One of the things I always felt was kind of funny in these last few years is a lot of times, you know, people get older, it's like they lose their filter. And, you know, sometimes they say things that would be embarrassing or bad. Stanley just became nicer because that's who he was at his core. And it was so funny to watch because it's like deep down, he was just this really humble, wonderful person who loved everyone. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
David.
you, David.
Thank you, David. Okay, next, you want to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay, Jan's going to go next. Then.
My remarks are not as prepared. I'm just going to share a few heartfelt feelings and memories that I have of how important Stanley was in mine and Mitchell's life. A lot of you know because we've been meeting for the last many years every night at 8:30 on a video conference call, a little bit like this, maybe not quite as many people, but Stanley performed mine and Mitchell's wedding ceremony more than 55 years ago. And it was really an act of love on his part. He was up at sunrise at a lookout tower at the beach performing our wedding ceremony. And so that was something really, truly wonderful that got us started. Here we are 55 years later. The other thing I want to say about Vivian and Stanley, that they were very instrumental in my forging a positive life as a young adult. You know, having married at 16 right out of high school, so many things could have gone so wrong, but they really were there as a, I don't know, backup, extra set of love. You know, they were just there in every way possible for us. And I didn't finish my college degree right away, but Vivian and Stan really encouraged me. And because of that encouragement, I was able to go on and complete a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. And Stanley really basically mentored me into the teacher that I became at Southwest Texas College, teaching psychology in lifespan. And so that led me to a career that just completely changed my life, my family's life, and it played forward a lot of who Stanley was through a whole variety of students. What I'm looking right now at one of the people that was part of his care team, I see Maritza Hernandez, and she was one of my former students in my lifespan class. And she and her family provided a lot of love for Stanley. I don't know if she's going to share later, so I don't want to say too much, but she was truly wonderful in helping us give Stanley the rich life that he had this last year and a half. And basically, I want to just share a little bit because sometimes people lose touch. Many of you have been in touch with Stanley, but I want to let you know a little bit about the last year and a half of Stanley's life while he lived here with assisted living. Basically, he came here after he'd been in and out of emergency rooms, hospitals, intensive care units, many, many things like that. And as far as care, you know, medical care goes, a nursing home might have been the best thing, but we wanted something more. So we found an assisted living center and we found a care team to work with him. And I want to just share a few things from this last year. He had weekly services for church, and he was known for his great voice. In fact, the best voice in the whole assisted living center where he was. He also had numerous celebrations. Maritza, who kind of headed up the care team, has 6 children. Her mom was part of the care team and other people. So there were kind of constant birthday parties that we all shared and other family celebrations. So it was a wonderful, wonderful time. It was a rich time. And also during this last year and a half, more than 50 people came here to Uvalde to visit Stanley. Some were at his Bittinger Bunch reunion. Other people came to visit him in his apartment. But basically, I share this because it was a fun time for us. And Mitchell and I have a lot of fun keeping up with his busy social calendar this last year and a half. So I wanted to share those things. They're just heartfelt. And we can move on from here. I see Jennifer's had her hand up.
Okay. Thank you, Jan. I don't have to unmute now, so I'm there. Our next speaker will be Jennifer Jones.
Yeah, hi everybody. Make sure can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Just quickly, I just want to say can't believe I'm sitting here at the age of 56 and remembering Stanley, who was, how old was he? 97, 8?
97 and 11 months.
Yeah, okay. And I can't even begin to tell you like how he personally has affected my life and how he's been there and for me. And in recent times and years, I haven't spent much time with him. And anyway, but what I would like to say is there are things about Stanley that I always admired and wanted to model or emulate into my own life. And that's just his happy nature, resiliency to whatever life had to bring. He always had a way of, you just take the worst situation and make it better. How do you do that? With love, with kindness, with giving. And as a teenager and a young teenage parent, his belief in me and his ability to share it just so simply and basically just really, I know, helped form my own opinion of myself and my own capabilities. And it doesn't matter where you come from, we can make it through this world and to live life with heart, with joy, and to give. When you give that, you get it back. But there are so many things, and I want to cut short on time, but I just love him, and he is one of my angels, has always been in life, and now he's with the best of them. So much love to everybody here too, because I love everybody and our family and everybody I haven't seen forever. So
Thank you, Jennifer, so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Kim had raised his hand earlier.
Yeah. So the next person that I've heard about is Kim Richard. I'm looking for the hand signal.
You have to unmute yourself, Kim.
Yeah.
Click the microphone button that has a slash through it at the bottom of the screen.
I got
there you go. Now,
I got it. Thank you. I could talk forever. I have pictures of Steve and Craig and me in a sandbox when we were 2 years old. My earliest memory of Stanley was listening to him preach when I was 4 or 5 and I still remember watching him, and the whole time he was praying, speaking, preaching, he was smiling, and I never saw anybody smile that much or that sincerely. And I thought, and I remember after that service when I noticed that, I watched him the whole time after the service as people came up and talked to him about the sermon. He never stopped smiling. He just enjoyed himself. He enjoyed the people around him. And I never knew anybody that smiled that much. I'm glad that you guys are still on the farm in Indiana. I remember being there with Steve and Craig, and we put a zip line from the hayloft down to some tree in the yard, and nobody died. I just had so many adventures from Merida to Alaska to South America, miles and miles and miles of just joyous trips.
That's
Couple of the
great.
couple of the proudest moments in my life was when, on 2 separate occasions, both Vivian and Stanley told me that I was one of their sons. He's just simply the most remarkable person I have ever known. And I have some pretty remarkable people in my family. Aunt Pearl was Stanley's teacher when she was 20. Stanley was her student in high school or junior high, I forget which. And Stanley and Aunt Pearl had a lifelong love for each other and love for the church and working with the church. I just had so many good people in my life, and Stanley was the best of them.
Okay, thank you so much.
I've been talking all week to people up here about him and telling people what a remarkable person I had the opportunity to know. And thank you to Jan and Mitchell for taking care of him so well the last years. I wish I could have got to Texas. I don't travel anymore. It's been 4 or 5 years since I've been down to South Texas. So
well, we
I
understand.
love you all.
Thank you, and we love you too. Even though we hardly have never met, I know all about you. Jan's met you, I know. Anyway, thank you, Kim. Thank you so
And
much.
it was an honor, and it was wonderful. Our lives were enriched this last year.
And I'll mention too, just that I think Homer and Cecilia, I think they got married before us even, so that more years. So there's other people out there that were married by Stanley.
And Casey.
And our next hand up is Kay.
So could you show the video before we go on to the rest of the speech?
That would be good.
Okay, we're ready. Kate, if you don't mind holding on, you'll go first right after the video. We're ready, Steve.
Okay, let's see here now.
Homer.
This is the song video that I'm going to play now.
Standing here staring out across the way, thinking about all my memories of you, and a smile came across my face, because each memory was special and good. When I think of you, think about the mountains, scenic drives, and waterfalls. When I think of you, think about your smile, the loving kindness you shared with one and all. When I think of you, unassuming, gentle, and loving, you lived out your faith in Jesus Christ through your words, actions, and deeds. I've been so blessed to have you in my life. Your stories of adventure I will always treasure, and I will always remember. When I think of you, I think about the mountains, scenic drives and waterfalls. When I think of you, I think of your smile and the loving kindness you shared with one and all. When I think of you,
That was beautiful, Greg and Steve. Excellent. Everybody, I definitely will clap for that too. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. Okay, we'll move on to Kay Arnold. We're ready for you to speak.
Well, I started traveling with Stan in
Talk louder.
I started traveling with Stan in 1980. Brought my girls. I've got them around me right now. We're in Prince Edward Island. And the marvelous thing that happened today is we were driving through the countryside. We drive across the Stanley Bridge, which crosses the Stanley River in Prince Edward Island. I thought that was just so appropriate to be there today. And I started thinking about Stanley and his way of showing loving kindness to everyone. People just don't learn by having someone sternly tell them they made a mistake and they ought to do better. They learn when they're loved. And I was thinking about this one trip where a German man was with us, and I don't remember his name. It might have been something like Helmut or Heinz or something, but he was angry and just sort of a jerk. Nothing worked right for him, and he was snarky to everyone. Well, that day we got into some little problem where we had all turned down some road and it ended, and we all had to back out onto a highway, and Helmut or Heinz stood back there directing traffic because he was the kind who could do that. And that evening, as we gathered for supper and said thanks for our food, Stanley said he really wanted to thank Heinz for what he had done, helping us to get out of that predicament, that he had the skills and the willingness to stand out there in the intersection, help us all out. And of course, I guess Heinz had never had that kind of response to him before. And at the end of the trip, as we always made a circle and talked about what was best for us on the trip, he said that he had never in his whole life felt so loved and appreciated as he did on that trip. The man was totally different. He quit being a snarky jerk and just started helping and pitching in. So it was Stanley's way. He knew the way to people's heart was to love them. And I'm just so glad I got to be around him for 46 years and that my children and my grandchildren were introduced to Stanley and his loving ways. Thanks to all of you for being folks he loved him too.
Thank you so much, Kay. Thank you. Okay, I'm looking for more hands to be raised. I see Jeanette there. Hi, Jeanette. My sister. Oh, Maritza, I'll get you in just a minute then. I'll do you after Jeanette. Jeanette, did you want to say something? You have to unmute yourself. This may take a second here. If it does, we can come back to you. It's okay. It's on the bottom, along the bottom there. There's a place there to click on the microphone.
If we need to, we can go on to then we come back.
Okay. All right. I'll wait till you get unmuted then, Jeanette, okay?
And we're going to go next and then come back.
We'll come back to you. All right, Maritza.
Can you hear me?
There's your hand. I did.
Okay. I'm trying my best not to cry, but I just want to say thank you to Jan and Mitchell for giving us the opportunity to work with Stanley. Like I always said, to know Stanley was to love Stanley. We worked with him for about 1.5 years, and it was an honor to have gotten to know him. He celebrated birthdays, we celebrated Thanksgiving, Christmas, graduations together. I have a big crowd here too. They all want to say a little something. Everybody's met Stanley here. Karina? He always shared food with my cousin Karina. She was there on the daily with us. He always made sure, there was a plate for everybody. He was just so loving, so caring. I don't think I've ever met anybody like Stanley, and we miss him dearly. I'm sorry. But thank you, Jan and Mitchell. Y'all did a lot for him as well, and we're gonna miss him dearly.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you. The
Maritza.
wonderful care it really made this a wonderful year and a half for him here in Uvalde.
Oh
We
yeah,
love
and
having
I
you around.
yes. Also, I have 6 kids, and I feel like they brought Stanley life. I mean, he was so
That's it.
loving to them, and they saw him like a grandpa. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful and grateful I got to work with him.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, Maritza.
He
We
loved
appreciate it.
the children.
Next person I have on my list, well, I have Jeanette and then I have Juan. Jeanette, did you get your mic undone yet? No, she doesn't know how to do
Okay,
it.
we're
It's
gonna
okay.
go.
We'll go on to Juan. Juan Diego, is that right? Please, it's your turn.
Yes, that is correct. And good afternoon, all, and good morning also. I know that we are many places around the world. And my name is Juan Diego Vasquez, and next to me is my beautiful wife, Ana Landeros. And I'm a disciple of Dr. Bittinger. I met him in 1990. He pretty much put me under his wing. I was pretty much limited English proficiency. I'm from Monterrey. My wife is from Zacatecas in Mexico. So I heard about Dr. Bittinger and his trips to Mexico. I remember spending a lot of time over at Roth Hall, and got acquainted with Dr. Mori. I remember sitting with Dr. Mori in one of those classes also, and ended up enjoying every minute I was able to spend with Dr. Bittinger, Dr. Mori, and many more. Participated with Dr. Bittinger in many, many trips. And interesting that being a Mexican, I never left Monterrey. It was amazing just to see that there was so much to see. I traveled south, traveled Central America, went across Copper Canyon, here in Texas the same, all the way to the Big Bend area. We'll never forget the one particular trip that Dr. Bittinger, Dr. Mori, Dr. Mori's son and myself, just the 4 of us, did from the back of Monterrey all the way to Saltillo. It took us about a couple of days, but it was just beautiful. My very own backyard. The highlight of my life, it was traveling with Dr. Bittinger to Tamazopo. Went to the Dios, to be more specific, on a Thanksgiving night. I was pretty much trying to find my way. And on a Thanksgiving night, I crossed paths with who it is now the most beautiful person in my life. That's my wife. So I do owe Dr. Bittinger, my wife, and our beautiful children, 2 of them, Ana, Miriam, and Diego Andres. And yes, I do regret not being able to spend the many minutes that perhaps I had the opportunity of running to him and saying thank you over and over again. But I am who I am now because of Dr. Bittinger, because he gave me the stamina to continue moving forward. I do see Kay. I know she's there somewhere in the corner. I know that many of the group that we used to be together left us already. They passed. And but something I will never forget, we will not forget, my wife and I, is having the group traveling to Fresnillo to our wedding. The most beautiful thing to see a caravan of vehicles arriving in Fresnillo and dancing with us all night, and then meeting with them along the way as we're traveling south to Oaxaca, running into that very same group at Cerro de Cubilete in the state of Guanajuato. And for that, and for many more memories, and many, many photos that I have in a big box somewhere in there that I've been going to now just to relieve some of the past. I'm thankful to the Lord for the beautiful soul, for the beautiful Dr. Bittinger and wife, and for all of you that added so much to, again, who we are right now. So may God bless his soul forever.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Very beautiful. Okay, Jeanette, are you there? You are. This
I
is my
got it.
sister.
Yes, it took a while.
Here's Cecilia seeing you.
My name's Jeanette Parr, and I'm Mitchell's sister and Jan's sister-in-law, and friends with Wendell and Alan and Ricky and Jennifer Jones. It's weird how our family has blended together. Now, Mitchell and Jan were married in 71, right, Mitchell?
Right.
And I was married in
79, so you beat us.
Oh, okay.
No, in 82, I'm sorry, we got together in 79.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, we had our wedding also in 71, my first marriage. And Stanley, we were in Kingsville, and it was one of those old little houses that was leaning, that we had rented. Well, he comes in and he performs the marriage, but he performs it right under a Keep On Truckin' poster. And he had so much fun, and he was just got right into, being friends. But I had his wife as a Spanish teacher. She was one of my favorite teachers. And of course, I went on one caving trip, and it was to Devil's Sinkhole with, I don't know that Stanley was there, Craig and Steve and everybody was there. Well, I had been practicing at A&M Stadium, rappelling down the thing. So I had that. But when it came time to go down in there, I I don't think so. It just took the bats. That was the deal breaker.
The bats.
And the height. So anyway, but I love Beverly as well, and all of her family, and of course I love all of y'all because I know how much Stanley really he got power from everybody being, him doing his work, and everybody was just always uplifted when they were around Stanley. And the last thing I'll say is I was out at Lakey at Concan, and he came to party with us at a pizza place, and Mitchell sang that night, I think. And here comes Stanley, and he's in the Hippie Chicks Pizza.
Hippie Chicks Pizza.
And I walked up to him, and I hadn't seen him in years. I said, I bet you don't know who I am. He said, oh, yes, I do. He never forgot a person, I don't think. Anyway, that's it. And I may rest in peace.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay. Now, Maritz's hand's still up, but I don't think she
I don't
needs
think
it.
she needs it. No, it's just left up, I think.
Is who else would like to speak?
Anybody?
Ricky? Go ahead.
You have to unmute.
You have to unmute first, Ricky.
Hey.
There you go.
We can hear.
We can hear you.
All right. Well, I've been listening to everyone with so much feeling in my heart, and have so much in common with so many different ones of you guys. I met Stanley in 1965, I think, when I was 15. And that summer, Beverly and Vivian had met maybe the semester before. The three of them came up to Austin to work on to work on degrees that they were involved with. And that was the summer that what's his name? The guy went up to the tower and did the shootings. And as a teenager in Kingsville, we were waiting to here, but back then you couldn't get a line through, and it was hours and hours of not knowing. And actually Stanley was out on the grounds, and Beverly and Vivian were in their apartment across from the tower. But that would be, my early knowing then. At the end of that summer, Stanley and Vivian had already, and their boys, Stephen and Craig, had already made plans to move to Laverne, California, in the LA area. And there's a lot I can say. I'll see if I want to make it through it quickly because it's all important. At the end of that year, their year out there, or during that year, the house next door to where my parents lived in Kingsville came available. And by then, Vivian and Beverly had become very close friends. And so Stanley and Vivian were able to buy the house next door to my parents and moved back to Kingsville. And Stanley went right back to A&I and was there until he retired. So when they were ready to move back to Kingsville, by then I had turned 16 and I'd never been on an airplane before. And so as I finished high school at the end of that May, I was able to fly out to Laverne and help Stanley and Vivian and their family load up with a U-Haul and 2 old cars and make their way back to Texas. And I was able to, that was my first long distance driving. So we got back to Texas in June of '67. And then Stanley then began the trip that he and Vivian had planned so that their boys could get to know Beverly's younger boys better. So Wendell and I joined them along with Kim, who is nice to see here. So Kim and Wendell and myself and Stephen and Craig and Stanley, along with, there were 8 of it. Oh, Vivian's brother, youngest brother was there too, George, and another one of their friends. We made it on a Volkswagen bus all the way to Alaska and back. And coming back, on the way back, I was able to meet Stanley's parents for the first time and realize what unique characters they were. And at that time, they were working with the, I think it was like the USS Campus Afloat. His father was the chancellor, and his mother, they worked in unison, but it was every semester that ship would take off from, I think it was Orange County, but would travel various distances for students to learn. And so I'd met them and I found that real intriguing. And then they made arrangements so that I would be able to be a student on I think the following spring. Okay, so we made it back from Alaska all the way up and back to Texas in the summer of '67. And that was the summer of love. On the way coming down the West Coast, we went through Haight-Ashbury like at 2 o'clock in the morning and made it to Kingsville. By the end of the summer, I started my first semester in college. And my first semester in college, Stanley was my sociology teacher. And so we got to know each other during the summer, but he became my teacher.
Good.
And then during that time, the Hurricane Beulah blew through town, and it was quite something. My family was living next door to Stanley and Vivian's family. And when the windows blew out of my family's house, we all made it over to Stanley and Vivian's house and so forth. But so that semester I was with Stanley as his student. And it so happened that by the end of the semester, I was married. I was 16 and realized that I was going to get married. A couple of weeks after my 17th birthday, Stanley married Jennifer, who's on here too, married Jennifer's mother and myself. And so we were married, that would be 59 years ago, 1967. And I, eventually finished school by the December 70. I was finishing up with school. But by then, Vietnam War was going full storm, and I had been drafted, and my draft number was low. And so I knew I was going to have to face the military draft, and I didn't have any intention of doing that, but I didn't want to have to go to Canada. And being that my mother, living with Stanley and Vivian by that point, I guess during that time, while I was finishing school, my Jan and Wendell had my mother also, Stanley and Vivian opened their home to my family, to the rest of my mom's family. And we've been a blended family since.
That's good.
Anyway.
Rick, that's good.
He helped you get that.
Stanley was instrumental in counseling me to become a conscientious objector through the Church of the United Brethren. And the Church of the Brethren, like the Quakers, have a long tradition of pacifism, but also a long tradition of service. And so, Stanley and Vivian, when they were married, I think they were married in 49, but I know that directly after they were married as young people, the people in their church immediately follow, if they're not married by then, do service work for the church. And they chose to go into Puerto Rico. And
okay, Rick.
Yeah.
I want to finish telling your story for you quickly too. I just think that the fact that he was there for you and helped you get that
conscientious
objector, status, that made it possible for you not to be dead.
Well, that
you're here tonight, and your children are here, and we thank you so much.
I have to say something more beyond that, because there's that's the only traveling I ever did was when I was real young, because I got married very young. Actually, by the time I was 34, I was a grandfather, and Stanley was instrumental in keeping my family together and supporting our mothers. And when I went to do my service work, I'd never intended to teach people with disabilities. My degree was in English and art. And so coming to Austin, had to find work that qualified. I got that. And through that, I became a teacher for family. That was what took care of myself and my kids for the rest till I retired.
Rest of the life.
40-something years later.
That's wonderful.
And during all that time, there were many times that he spent helping me with, he and Vivian both, with my Spanish to work with my family. And it just, it's a long story, but it's a story that almost I can't leave any one of those particular parts out.
Sure.
And
we thank you so much for sharing those.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I went so long.
No, that's okay. It's okay.
We're okay.
As I say, we might be here for a long time. I see another hand raised. Sonia Vera. We're ready for you, Sonia. Just unmute and start talking. There she is. We can't hear you right now. Try again.
But you're not muted, as best we know.
You may have to sign off and sign back on, Sonia, if you can't get the mic to work under settings. I know you've been on these meetings before too, so usually it works. Can't hear, sorry, but you can try back in just a minute if you want to. We still have a
couple of minutes, a little while to go.
Yeah, a little while to go still.
This happened to Pete the other night. We couldn't hear him. He signed out and then came back. Did Pete want to say anything or no?
I'm asking anybody else. I don't see any more hands raised right at the moment, but there's Kim again.
Kim?
Kim's, were you doing a raise your
Yeah,
hand?
I want to say just a couple more things and I'll get out of here.
No, it's okay. It's good.
Vivian was also my high school Spanish teacher for a year.
Oh, yeah.
She taught in Fremont for 2 years. I remember spending that month of January in Houston with helping Grandma Swihart take care of George when he was in the hospital. And then Grandma Swihart paid for Craig and me to take a cave-in trip to Mexico. And we went down there, and I've been from the bottom of Grand Canyon to the top of Mount Whitney with Stanley. He just had more effect on my life than anybody but my parents and maybe Aunt Pearl, but I just feel so lucky having him in my life.
I think that, Kim, that like many of us here, and there are a lot of people here that haven't spoken yet, but we all, there's so much that could be said about him, and we know, and it's so nice to hear you tell those things. That's really good.
It's kind of interesting because you said he had more effect on you than anybody, but other than your parents. And in my case, coming from a home that had a pretty good bit of dysfunction, I could say he may have had more effect in some ways, very positive ways. Not that there weren't wonderful things, but with Stanley, it was truly wonderful.
Oh, and Stanley was also baptized me into the Church of the Brethren, along with Steve. On the same day Steve got, or it was Steve, right? Not Craig. Steve and I got baptized the same day at the church.
Okay, I see another hand up.
We have Anne raising her hand.
We'll go on. Is that okay if we go to somebody else, Kim, or do you have anything else you wanted to say?
No. I'm glad to hear what everybody says.
Okay. We've got Ann Birchfield.
Yeah, I'll just speak very briefly. I don't have any prepared remarks because I think for me, growing up, we always had Vivian and Stanley just kind of came along as, I just saw it as I had this second extra bonus set of grandparents. And I didn't even, I think as a child, necessarily think about the fact that that's not something everybody has. And I think as I have grown up and become an adult, I've seen more and more just the number of things that Stanley had done quietly in the background, even before I was born, that have downstream done so much for me. Looking at my parents and kind of the start that they got with support from Vivian and Stanley and Beverly, and Stanley being the one who married them. And then hearing about, later, I think I didn't even always think about it or wasn't always aware of what a life of adventure he was having sort of outside of my view as a child. And then sort of seeing that now and feeling that it's really an amazing legacy he left behind, the number of people that he shared, just a sense of wonder. Yeah, that's okay, Zenith. You don't have to look up wonder and exploration and joy at the world and caring for others. And I've gotten a few chances to see that a little more just in these past few years when I've had the opportunity to be part of these regular video calls that were happening. It's not something I've been on every night, but and more recently, my son, that you've probably seen popping on and off, have had the opportunity to connect with him more actually than I had in quite a long time, just in the last few years. And it's really given me a deeper appreciation for sort of the legacy he shared with all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what I have to share.
That's great. That's very nice. I was hoping that Sonia would come back on, but I don't see her.
Yeah, she's here.
Is Sonia there? Can you try, Sonia, to talk to us?
Yes, go ahead, Sonia. We can hear you.
I can't hear her.
No. She's not muted.
There's a
but we're still
microphone
not getting
button.
any sound.
Oh,
She's not muted, but there's just a technology problem.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, an option too, if it's not working for her, what I've sometimes done is sign back in on a different device. So
And I
Yeah,
think
she
she did.
tried.
on
She tried to
laptop
do.
Yeah,
or
she's
switch
tried.
to a phone or vice versa, which she may be doing. I'm just, in case she's listening, to give that suggestion.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'll say one more word quick, and that's that during, before Beverly passed, that last 5 years of her life or more, I many times going down to visit with them, I went out went to church with them before I would come back to Austin, and I got to know a lot of the people in that community and from that church that just were most remarkable, and the work that the church did helping destitute, seriously destitute people make their way to safety was absolutely remarkable. And Stanley and Vivian were so instrumental in that. And those were my most recent times to go to church. And I also was able to participate in prayer sessions and Bible study sessions there in the house with them. And Stanley was just always remarkable. He would pass out 4 or 5 different versions of the Bible and have everybody look up a particular verse in each one and then compare, the slight variations. And he was just a remarkable leader that way.
Thank you, Ricky. That's great. Thank you. I want to give it, if there's anybody, John Kreider, that hasn't spoken that would like to speak.
That's fine.
This is it. Otherwise, we're going to move on to Sonia.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
We're glad to get to hear from you.
And we see you too.
Okay, thank you to whoever suggested and signing in on a different device. We went ahead and on from our phone. So thank you, and that suggestion. I just wanted to say that kind of piggybacking off of what Kim was talking about, Stanley, he always wore a smile. He always had kindness in his pocket, and he never met a stranger. He was always willing to help anybody he crossed paths with. And I am just so thankful to have known him. Sometimes I feel life rigs things in our favor. And I feel so blessed for life to align all the stars, because when my mom met Stanley, Vivian, and Beverly, they swooped her up and took her under their wings. And I am such a firm believer that if it hadn't been for them and their divine intervention on her life, we would not be where we are today because of the goodness, the love, the encouragement, and all the support that they offered her when she was just so young, lost, and broken. They took the pieces and they tried to put them back together as best as they could. And because of that, my mom was able to go to nursing school and finish and become a nurse. And then when she so desperately, when Beverly needed nursing, and then Vivi, and then Stanley, that kind of came full circle because they are the ones that encouraged her to be a nurse. And then she was the one in the end nursing them when they needed it the most. So it was just a really beautiful thing to see that come around. I've known Stanley, Vivi, and Mr. B since I was just such an itty bitty girl. Most families we are born into, but sometimes we get the privilege of choosing the families that we call our own and that we choose to love. And, I didn't have a grandpa. I hardly had a dad. And Mr. B, I can honestly say has been one of the most influential positive male figures in my life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sonia. We love all you guys down there, and I see Eva there too.
Yeah.
And we're so happy you could.
He also baptized Enzo and he was there when all three of my children were born. But he's just very special. He's very important, and I love him so much. I'm honored to have known him and be a part of his life.
Thank you so much. Thank you for telling.
And Eva also.
Eva, do you want to say some things?
Sure, we're emotional and everything, but we were so grateful to have had him in our lives. Mr. B was love. That's who he was. Love, a hero, a father, a counselor, guiding in our lives, and we were so blessed. We were so blessed. Like Sonia says, I was blessed just as my children were blessed. My family was so blessed. What can we say? Someone when we put the message on Facebook and everything, somebody said, I don't know who it was that said he was a saint walking in Jesus' shoes, and that's who he was. We will miss him very much, but we will always carry him in our heart. I will always remember the good times with him. Like they say, he always had a smile, and we make him, feel that he was loved, and and we just thanked everybody that joined us whenever we did a celebration with him. But like you say, he was our hero, our father, and he was just a saint. He always would say, "Oh, Eva, you're a saint." And I said, "No, Mr. B, there's a saint in this world. It's you." And I thank for him to be in our lives, and I just want to say those words. We are going to have a ceremony for him to celebration of his life on July here in Kingsville, and we will put it on Facebook. And because there's a lot of people that want to talk about him, the journey that they had with him, and like we've been hearing talk, and he had a great journey, and he will keep on doing that journey where he's at.
Thank you so much.
Would you say the date again?
I'd like to say to Eva that one more thing. When Stanley was in the accident in Mexico that nearly took his life, and he finally made it back to Kingsville a few days later, Jennifer and I were there waiting to carry him to the hospital north of Austin. But Eva was there to check him over and make sure that he was safe for the journey. And that was another time that his life was saved by all kinds of people. Michael, among others, made a whole huge difference, but Ava was there.
It's true. And we, even in the short period of time that we had him there in Uvalde, he surprised us several times when we thought he might not make it, but kept coming back for more. It's really good. He was incredible. Now it's time for Steve to come on in and help everybody for our closing prayer. And so let's welcome Steve Bittinger for this morning.
I'm going to share a photograph here of, let's see, where to go here? This is a photograph. No, hold on. Here's a photograph. Do you see Stanley preaching there?
Not yet. Yeah, now we do. It's
We're
coming
about
up.
to.
There he is. Top here.
Do you see the picture of Stanley preaching?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
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 we
yes,
do.
yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is Stanley preaching in the old sanctuary of the church in Falfurrias. This picture probably would have been taken about 1956. Growing up in Falfurrias, the church was right next door to our house. I can still remember sitting on the front pew, watching Dad preach in both English and Spanish. At the end of every service, Stanley would deliver the benediction in both languages. It was a powerful experience. As a child, it truly felt as though he was channeling the peace and power of the Lord down onto us in that exact moment. Hearing those words Sunday after Sunday burned the memory forever into my mind. I can still clearly recall the cadence of his voice and the profound stillness that would fill the room. There is no better way to honor him today than to let him have the last word. Wherever you are joining us from today, I invite you to take a comfortable breath, pause at your screen, and receive these words. I close this service the way my dad closed so many chapters of his life, with Stanley's benediction. Now may the love of God the Father, the grace of Christ the Son, and the communion and fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all, now and forevermore. Ahora que el amor de Dios el Padre, la gracia de Jesucristo el Hijo, y el compañerismo del Espíritu Santo sea con todos nosotros, ahora y para siempre jamás. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for joining
Amen.
us. A special thanks to you who shared your heartfelt memories and stories. And people from all over the world, Australia and other places, are here tonight. And finally, please remember this online memorial service is being recorded and will soon be available on YouTube, where anyone can search for Stanley Bittinger Memorial, and you'll be able to watch it again if you want, or if you know someone who knew Stanley and maybe wasn't able to make this particular service, they could watch it there. Again, I want to thank everyone for being such great people to know, to share what they did with Stanley, and that's really. We're going to watch some slides now that Steve's going to put on, and people can watch this for as long as they want to and sign off whenever you want to. But
there were slides early on, and I don't know if they kept going, but there will be some more slides. Or we hope there will.
We definitely will look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for coming. It was our honor to help take care of him these last few years. Can you guys hear me? There we go. There's the slides.
Hey, Steve, me too. I could have said that prayer with you.
Yeah, I bet.
We were both sitting on the front pew in the church.
Yes.
Having
Yes,
it
word
burned
for
into our
word.
brain.
I used to impress my Spanish students by saying the saying in Spanish at the end of the English class when I was substitute teaching.
The waterfalls. Yeah.
What time did this start? The memorial tonight.
It started at 7:30, Dorothy.
Stephen said it out.
Okay. I was under the impression it was 8:30. Okay. My
That's okay.
mistake.
You can see the beginning.
See the beginning. Very
Okay.
I hope that people will still continue to come on this. We will meet after this thing. I certainly will be there every night at 8:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
Whoa.
Pete, it was nice seeing you the other night. If you want to say anything tonight, you can still say something. There's some people here, and if you've got anything to share, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, this is just free time. We can take turns talking if anybody has something they want to say while we're watching.
Well, to tell you the truth, I think the people's already said everything I was going to say. It's been a wonderful time with Stan since 1975, and I've had many, many trips with him, and walking, etc., etc. It's just been very wonderful. And I
You've
hope we
walked
won't
hundreds
stop
of
it here.
miles.
Thank
You
you.
and Stanley walked hundreds of miles together over
Yeah.
time.
And I say, I
Yeah,
hope we
you
will
were
continue to have these meetings sometimes.
you were a great buddy for Stan, Pete. You meant a lot to him.
And I'm honored
Oh,
to have had Vivian as my high school Spanish teacher. And I didn't know Craig and Steve in high school, but I knew who they were. And I had Dr. B as a sociology teacher at A&I in my sophomore year and joined the caving club because of him. When we had done a sociology field trip down into Mexico. And he said, if you love Mexico so much, which I did at that time and still do, he said, come check us out. We go down to Mexico all the time. And I did.
Oh, there's Sonia.
That's great. Those are great
Inga.
memories, Dorothy. I'm sorry you didn't get on earlier, but
It was nice to hear from you, Dorothy.
Pardon me?
It was nice to hear from you.
Oh, yes. I'm just sorry I misread the email and wasn't here at 7:30.
Well, that was the time for our regular, the meetings that we used to have all the time. But
Okay.
we did a little earlier tonight to accommodate people in different places.
yeah, and
Okay.
like Australia and stuff that made it where it was easier. And by the way, I think it's Father's Day in Australia, so they can.
Yeah, by now, yeah.
It's American Father's Day anyway.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
I
Yes.
just wanted to add, a few years back, we had celebrated Stanley and Vivi's, I don't know what year anniversary it was,
60 something,
60 something.
maybe
And
3. I don't know. Yeah, but I remember it was during COVID and you did drive-bys,
There's Molly.
parades.
I had made them a crown out of a poster board. And I put jewel hearts on it, and I outlined them in gold. And my mom and I took them a cake, and I asked them, "What is the secret to marriage of marriage this long?" And they said a lot of perseverance and a lot of forgiveness, and that's something that always stuck with me.
Yeah. Especially that many years, you'd be for having to forgive every day for 1,000 little things, and
Right?
that forgiveness and perseverance. That's a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember also one time, I think I don't know, I think they were celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary. And Alan and Kelsey made I think it was a little dinner or something, and we went, Cindy, I, and Donnie went, and we went over there and to celebrate them, and I made a poem for them. And what is true love? Does true love still exist? And I think I sent it to Mr. one time, and he read it. And and then I gave him a certificate, and I gave him a gift card to McDonald's, because what they like to do at the church is eat an ice cream. So we would go over there and give him gift cards to McDonald's. It was just, anything that we did with them, I think we just sent them. It was an honor to be part of it.
There's Gigi.
There's Gigi, yeah.
I just wanted to, I'm not sure if my microphone's on yet. Yes.
Yeah,
Just wanted
yes,
to say
Donna.
thank you to everybody who actually organized this. Mostly
Yes.
Jackie Mitchell and probably a
Steve.
cast of thousands behind the scenes as well. Ah.
That's good. You can end with it.
Yeah, this is a good.
Standing here staring out across the way, thinking about all my memories of you. And a smile came across my face, because each memory was special and good. When I think of you, think about the mountains, scenic drives, and waterfalls. When I think of you, think about your smile, the loving kindness you shared with one and all. When I think of you, unassuming, gentle, and loving, you lived out your faith in Jesus Christ through your words, actions, and deeds. I've been so blessed to have you in my life. Your stories of adventure I will always treasure, and I will always remember. When I think of you, I think about the mountains, scenic drives and waterfalls. When I think of you, I think of your smile, and the loving kindness you shared with one and all. When I think of you,
Thank you all, everyone. Thank you
I
for-
think we'll wind it up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Sending
Thank
my
you
love
for
to all
putting
of
this
you.
together.
Good night.
Sending love to all.
Good
Thank
night.
you, everybody.
Night, everybody.
God bless you.
If any of you ever
Everybody.
come to Kansas, come see me in Wichita.
We might do that.
Might do it.
How do I log off of this?
Yeah, just click the red phone hang up. There you go.
I see it. I love you all.
We love you too.
Bye-bye.
There you go. But
Hello, John.
Is this you,
No,
Craig,
you
or
got it.
Stephen?
Steve Bittinger here.
Oh, what?
make sure you mute.
You can tell us apart. Craig is bald on top. I am.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're an early bird. I'm supposed to be sharing some photographs here. Hang on a minute. Let's see, slideshow. Do you see the slides, John? Okay, yeah. Okay, other people will be joining after a while. John, since there's nobody else on the call at the moment, you don't have to be on mute. When we get too many people, then it's a good idea to go on mute, but you don't have to be on mute. There's a microphone button there that
Yeah, I
you can
think my
click this
daughter,
at there you go.
my daughter turned it on for me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I don't think I've seen you in 30, 40 years. Yeah.
There's the bald one.
Hey, burned off all my hair up there. Thinking
Well, I've got mine grown back. You know,
Oh, well, that's good.
well, I had I whacked my head pretty hard twice and had to have all kind of surgery and plastic surgery, and they cut my hair off all the time every time I turned around. So I'm lucky to have any.
Yeah, well, maybe it's like your yard. If you mow it a lot, it'll grow back more or something.
Yeah, there you all are, the youngsters.
Yeah.
Bittinger, is that the town?
It's in West Virginia.
Ah, is that where they were from?
That's where my granddad, Stanley's father, was from West Virginia.
Ah, okay.
And there's still a bunch of Bittinger relatives in West Virginia.
Okay. We went to a car show today, and they had they had several VW buses, and one of the VWs that had the back like a pickup, kind of.
Oh, yeah. I went on several caving trips in one like that.
Oh, really? Was there enough room for everybody?
Oh, I rode in the back.
Oh.
All the way from Austin to Bustamante.
Oh, wow.
Long ways. Craig Sainsott was the guy's name. He owned that thing.
I remember when your dad told me about the trip y'all took to Alaska, and you had to weld the bumper thing on the front bumper to be towed back to civilization.
That's it.
Yeah, we had so many good trips with your dad. He was such a wonderful guy. There we are right there, all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great trip. And there we are again. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I sure miss the guy. You know, he was such a good guy. I wanted to be a Mexican anthropologist just like him. And I had planned to do that till the draft came after me.
Yeah.
That was not fun.
No. Well, Stanley really knew his archaeology. He could talk about that for a long time.
Well, you remember when we went to Kashkatlan Cave on that trip with Craig and Neil Morse and me and your dad? And he wanted to go to Kashkatlan Cave because that's where they found the little small corn that was 5,000 years old. And we drove in the Scout off into the boondocks. And he was so happy that we got
That was me, not Craig.
Was it you? I thought Craig was there. So you went on the trip with Neil Morris in my Scout?
Yeah, well, Neil Morris was on the trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I hurt my head and I had a brain injury, so I use that as a good excuse.
Well, that's good. They say if you need an excuse, anyone will do. So
Yeah, well, this one works quite well. Because what people do is they, oh, you remember me, don't you? Oh, yeah, I do. Well, what's my name? So then you.
I always figured Stanley was a kind of bridge. He was so familiar with Mexican culture and Mexican language and the history of all the ancient civilizations that he would, when you went on a trip with him, then he acted as a bridge that sort of made all of that stuff easier and come alive for you.
Well, I would fight to sit in the front seat with him because I learned more riding with him on the caving trips about Mexican anthropology and all the myths and the folklore and all that than I did in the class because I got personal attention. You know, in the class, Dale Murby and I were the only two white guys in the class. And so we didn't get a lot of attention then, and so it was always nice to ride with him up in the front. And I would fight to get up there because I wanted to ask all these questions and listen to him and take it all in. Just wonderful.
Well, growing up, going to the pyramids, it was like kind of going to a playground.
Yeah,
Climb up and down all these really fun places.
Mm-hmm.
So and I love those pyramids. On one trip, we actually kind of broke into Teotihuacan, and we're up there as the sun came up one morning.
Oh, wow.
And that was pretty cool to see that happen.
Well, your dad and I were in Cholula. I think it was on the same trip with you, Steve. And we crawled around inside the pyramid at Cholula, and I took pictures. And I have pictures of the polychrome paintings that they found under the different layers of pyramid. It was really cool.
Well, on one trip we went on, we drove way out in the middle of the jungle to Bonam Pak.
Yes, I've heard of it. I've not been there, but
a lot of really cool paintings there.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to go back then later in like a 4-wheel drive Suburban with big mud tires. Wouldn't go. It was just the rainy season was just wrong. We got stuck in the mud. But on that trip, Stanley drove his VW all the way out there. It was amazing. So
yeah, that VW went a lot of places that it seemed to me that some 4-wheel drive wouldn't go.
That's for sure. I know it went to a Devil's Sinkhole quite a few times. So.
Yes. That was always an interesting trip. You had to be very careful. You drive off in the pit,
I know. The first time when we drove up there, I thought we were just going to keep going and go over the edge. Stopped about.
That's when you went out the back of the van, right? Through the back window.
That would be cool. No, I was sure hoping the brakes didn't go out at that moment.
Yeah, no kidding.
And quite the drive in there.
I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Craig, at Gil's funeral. You sort of disappeared after it was over, and I was looking for you, but I couldn't find you.
Yeah, well, I had something I really had to do, so I had to leave after I gave my speech. But
yeah,
I really enjoyed being there and listening to people talk about Gil. So
yeah, I miss him too. Your dad and Gil, they're very important in my life.
Craig's speech at that memorial service is up on YouTube. If you just search YouTube for Craig Bittinger, you'll find his speech there.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never seen a bicycle built for 3.
It was custom built just for them. They asked for it to be built.
I guess that was Stanley's replacement van there for the VW. Those VW vans kept breaking down all the time. So.
Yeah. That big white van was paid for by insurance money.
Yeah.
Was that when there was that big wreck and Stanley got hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I figured that's how he got the new one.
Yeah. Well, I had lunch today with my son Mike, and he was along on that trip with that wreck.
Oh.
And according to Mike, Stanley was pretty much just not breathing and turning blue, and Mike flipped him over and started giving him artificial respiration or whatever and brought him back.
Good.
I was thanking Mike today for giving me my father for a few more years.
Yeah,
that was very nice of him to do that and save
Well, it was
Stanley.
good that he knew how to do that.
Yeah. Well, he works at the School for the Blind and won an award for saving one of the blind students. So it's choking and saved their life. So anyway, I guess Mike knows how to take those first aid courses or something.
Yeah, I took some CPR courses from the Red Cross. Kay and I and another couple that we go to church with, and we got all certified to do CPR and breathing for them and all that
I
stuff.
think it's shaving. I've stood right by him when he was shaving like that. It's okay.
These are great slides.
Can everybody hear me okay too?
Yes, I can hear you.
You can hear me fine? Okay. Hi, Greg. Hi, Carol.
Hello.
Just want to make sure nobody said anything. He wasn't sure.
Is my audio working okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you. It's nice to see everybody starting to show up. It'll be interesting to see how many people actually make their way here tonight, Steve. Yeah, I'm just the trailer.
Yeah. I sent out that email reminder to more than 50 people.
I'm gonna go get my other glasses.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, they're getting married.
No, there's Molly up on top, man.
Got some great pictures.
They're pretty big now.
When you look at the pictures, you'll see what a great smile Stanley had.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd say about 99% of the time.
That's nice.
Me and two.
Oh.
There he is.
Amen.
Too bad they couldn't have a walker built for two.
Oh,
Yeah, look at that. That's a nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
It's Kay and Pete.
Your dad introduced me to Cesar Chavez's wife one time in Edinburgh.
Ah. Wow. Like Easter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's good.
When did he grow the beard?
Richard? That was Richard, yeah.
Oh,
It's his brother, Richard.
Oh,
They look a lot alike, but
Yeah.
But didn't Stanley have a beard?
well, he
in
did
the-
for a little while here, but
Yeah.
he didn't
Sometimes he did get
doesn't-
around to shaving.
He doesn't normally have a beard. He
Okay.
didn't normally sport one for a long time. 10 plus years. Now there's some walkers.
Are
The
they having a
Roller
race?
Brigade.
Oh, that's Paul
Paul
Duncan.
Duncan.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was him in the
Yes.
hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's in the hyperbaric thing, I think.
Yeah.
That's me with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Juanita.
Oh.
And
He'd get out and walk every day.
every day. Yeah.
That's good. That's why I lived to be 97.
That's
Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh, there's Molly and
And
Michael.
Michael.
Yeah.
That was at the we had the
That's Harvey.
Christmas club. He's country club. There's Logan visiting.
A lot of good times.
That's a country club, right?
Logan and Mike were there with him.
Yeah. Here we are. That's standing in the convertible with Logan.
I didn't notice that at the time he and Logan kind of had almost matching caps.
Yeah. Yeah, the singers from the local Mennonite church. It's everybody there at graduation.
Yeah.
Alignments class. That's our grandson there, and that's.
This is one of the caregivers' children that would come and play with Stanley.
They play with the ball he played a lot with him. Maxie.
Yeah. Looks like Wendell has his hand up.
Hey, Wendell.
Yeah, I wanted to check and see that you could hear me okay.
Yeah.
Has everyone tested their mics?
Yes.
We have
been testing.
We've been making comments. We can't help ourselves.
We're watching the slides.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, there's that.
Let's see if I can.
Yeah. Oh.
I see
I think
13.
to go back to the beginning here. Let's see.
There we go. That's a nice
Let's see. I don't actually want to play the song.
But the song, the sound is working okay on the song.
Oh
yes.
He's just let's skip through that. More people coming.
Okay.
All right.
I'm trying to go. That was the end of the slideshow. I'm going to go back to the beginning again.
Okay.
I think when it comes to the end, then it stops.
For those of you just joining, we've been enjoying seeing some slides of Stanley.
While we're waiting to start the meeting, yeah. Service.
Luann, are you on there?
Yeah, she's there.
I'm on. Can you hear me, Dan?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Oh, wow. It looks like Cecilia and Homer may have just joined us.
Yes, they did. That's great.
Cecilia and Homer, it's great to see you.
What? You're muted, but that's okay. You can unmute if you want to for a minute and say hi before the.
Can you get your camera going, Cecilia? Well, anyway, they're here, and that's good.
Sure.
I just wanted to say hi, Luann. It's good to see you after all these years.
Well, I know. You too, Craig. Yes.
Well, it's been since we were kids that last time I saw you, I think. So,
Well, I was thinking probably, has it been more than 50 years?
might be.
Might be.
I'm 72, so who knows? A long time ago.
Yeah, for sure.
You're just a youngster, Craig.
I see that Mary Ann and Alan have joined us, and thank you for being here.
Hello, all from San Antonio.
Hello. Hello. Good to have you here. Morning.
That's my name is Juan Diego Vasquez, and wife Anna, she's with me.
Hello.
Great.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, Anne. I see you're here.
Hi, yes, we have made it. Just a second, let me fix this sound situation. You're not going to hear me at all.
That's from the trip to Alaska.
Let's see, how is
Oh.
this?
That sounds good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. I see that Cecilia.
Oh,
is
you know, I
having a
think I
little
have it
trouble.
not playing sound.
No, you're playing sound right now.
Yeah,
you
you can
can mute though. It's okay.
Now here we go. All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
And now I can hear you guys too. I think I've got the echo issue fixed.
Great.
Kim Witcher,
So I
all
just
right.
got the big screen on my laptop, but the camera won't work. So I've got the camera on my phone.
Okay, got it.
And Zenith is here too.
Hi, Zenith. Hey, Zenith. Okay. I don't know what to tell Cecilia about her. Oh, she's got the volume working now. All we have to do
and we
is
can even see her.
think about it. Where is she? Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Hi. Hey, Homer. Hi, Cecilia. We still have about 7 minutes, and Steve was going to start the slideshow again, I think, and then end it right at 8, and we'll get started.
7:30.
I mean 7:30. And then we'll
Texas
get
time.
started.
Hey, Rick, it's good to see you tonight.
Olson's Cave there.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yay.
You may regret it.
No.
No.
You're so glad you're here.
And Kim,
Kim,
you're on mute.
You're on mute, Kim. We'd love to hear you, though, if you unmute yourself for just a minute and talk. There's a mute microphone in the left-hand lower area there. Probably on yours.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, there you are. Hi,
Yay.
there's Kim. Hi.
Hey, Kim.
Hello,
You're
everybody.
famous with us because we've seen pictures of you going to Alaska and all kinds of things.
I went a lot of miles with that family. Steve, how many miles have we put on your dad's buses?
Thousands upon thousands.
Did you hear Steve or not? I don't know if you heard.
He's
He
kind
may
of
be concentrating on something else, but that was a long way to Alaska.
Yeah. Well, trips to southern Mexico and back, Alaska and back, the trip to South America.
Yeah.
And then the Thanksgiving trips down to Cascadas.
That's great.
Here, so we're not.
There's Pete. Hi, Pete.
Yeah, he's Pete there.
Hey, Pete, try your microphone. See if it's working.
Mine? Yeah, it's working.
yes, it is.
I did the same thing you did. I fixed the word, but it won't come on except when I'm pushed down on the
space bar. Yeah.
Space bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
How come everyone looks so old?
We are.
Hey, now.
Really.
Watch it.
Everybody looks young to me.
Well, the Jones guys, Richard and Wendell, where are you guys living now?
Oh, I'm in Los Angeles, West Hollywood.
Okay.
Los Angeles.
And I'm in Austin.
Austin.
Yep.
It's been several years since I made it back to Texas. I really would have liked to come before Stan died and before all my buddies down there. I hope Homer Vera tunes in today.
It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Homero Vera has been a long time. Yeah.
Hey, Ann, can you hold Zenith up for a second? Everyone said we're all old.
Yeah. No, right.
There's one young person there for
Venus
sure.
looks like
Yeah,
an old
exactly.
man.
There he is. That's our youngest member.
There's at least one
Hi,
exception.
Zenith.
Thank you.
Mom.
Because of Zenith, I get to be Grand Jan.
Yeah, right.
Grand Jan. That's a good name.
Yeah. And
I-
go ahead.
I see David.
There's David. Yeah.
I just went to my oldest granddaughter's 5th birthday party today, and my youngest daughter is due in 4 weeks with another girl.
All right.
Very
Yeah.
exciting.
Good. Great.
Congratulations. A big blessing for sure.
I could say something, but I probably have to wait till tomorrow. But there's good news in my family too, coming that can be announced by tomorrow.
Okay, we'll keep up on Facebook.
We'll see how long the meeting goes on, but probably.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe I can announce it by the end of the meeting.
Well, I have your number. I'll call you tomorrow, Rick.
Okay, and I'll definitely send a text out once I have the information.
Sure.
Cool. And it's your sister Jan that's been in Uvalde with Stan, right?
Yeah, right
Yeah,
here.
my name's not on the screen, but I'm Jan.
you were
and
earlier.
this
Oh,
is
there
Rick.
you are.
Yeah.
I would
yeah.
never have recognized you. Yeah, I was so glad he had that place to go. I wish I'd have made it to Uvalde last year.
That's all right.
That's okay. Everybody's got, we all get pulled in different directions. But I'll share some of Stanley's fun events from the year, and we'll all have memories that we share. So, yeah.
I guess you're not going to show any more slides, right, Steve?
You tell me when you want to start.
Well, we got 2
I'll
minutes.
stop when you're ready to go, Mitchell.
Well, that's okay. We just have 1 minute. It's okay. You showed some earlier, and there'll be more slides throughout the.
Oh, there's now 17 others. Yeah, that number is going up.
Yeah. We'll wait just a few minutes and just start. Go ahead and start. Why don't you show slides for the next 3 or 4 minutes? And maybe that'll give people time to sign on if they can.
Reidler.
I see Molly just joined.
Oh, there's
us.
Molly.
Hi,
Hi.
There's a reason why you can't put this up. Okay.
Is this helping?
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, good. Mike's on too. Kreidler. Steve, is that John Kreidler, the old caver?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's better.
Kreidler is tuned in. There
I've
he
been
is.
here. I'm the first one.
You were the first
Oh.
one. He was there before we got there.
I just now looked at the list of names we got.
Well, I can see your picture.
Yeah, my buddy hooked up my iPad. I had no idea. I might have been able to do it. I'm at a friend's barbecue right now.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you here. We're going to get started at 7:30 then, Steve. I'll go ahead and start, Steve, all right?
Okay, I'll stop this.
We haven't been seeing slides. We've just been watching and talking to each other.
That's good enough.
We saw some earlier, though.
Yeah,
so we're
some.
good.
We're good.
And I know
Good.
there'll be more.
Yeah. Well, we're going to start with who's here. So let's begin, if you will. Welcome, family, friends, and loved ones. The slides that many of us watched just a few minutes ago represent a small fraction of Stanley's adventurous life. This memorial service is being recorded and will be available shortly on YouTube.
We're getting some feedback, so I'm going to ask
pictures.
everybody. I'm going to mute everybody, and you have to turn your cell phone when you want to talk. All right?
Nope.